Hi friends, some of you may know me as Cody Osell, and you'd be right. But this will be the first time I'm going to be going over one of my designs, and that design is the AH-64D Apache Attack Helicopter. I'm not going to go into too many specifics about the history and the real aircraft, because if you want that information, you can buy one of the kits, and all of that information is in the instructions. This is the AH-64D Apache Longbow. Longbow is talking about the radar dome, or the radome, on top of the rotors. And this feature allows the helicopter to fire its Hellfire missiles from behind cover as to not be spotted by the enemy. And the Hellfire missile, there's 8 on the model, and they would fire from behind cover, and the missile comes down on top of armor, because that's where the armor is weakest on the vehicle. So it's not necessarily a direct fire weapon. There are some different types of Hellfire missiles. One was a blade bomb, where it doesn't explode and it just uses kinetic energy to strike an individual target and eliminate a specific enemy without causing a lot of collateral damage. That's one thing that I thought was pretty cool, that it's just like 6 blades or 4 blades that pops out of the missile and strikes the target instead of exploding. So some features that I really wanted to nail were the canopies. It's a tandem seat cockpit, so you have a pilot and a gunner, or the co-pilot. And mainly I was focused on capturing the top silhouette of the canopies, so as to not have to brick build it without glass. I wanted to incorporate glass as much as possible and bank on the fact that we could get the printed parts done properly so they would kind of complete that look, because we're always trying to stress realism and making everything to scale as much as possible and capturing those features correctly. So when I made that design, I decided to build the top of the cockpit sloping downwards at this downward angle following this side of the cheek, which would house the rounds for the 30mm chain gun, which is mounted underneath the aircraft. Getting the front sensors done wasn't all too complicated, but again, having specific printed parts for the infrared sensor and the gun targeting system, so this can also articulate. And that would be tied to the targeting system that's in a helmet mounted display. So the gunner would track the movement of the 30mm gun with his helmet movements. So where the gunner looks, the gun follows. The other side of the aircraft is not angled down, only angled down in just building where the canopy is mounted. But this cheek here is straight across, which I never really seen done before in Lego. It's kind of interesting. So I wanted to make sure that I got that right, because if you're looking at a blueprint, you just see one side of the vehicle has it sloped down and the other side is unseen unless you're looking at proper reference photos. The engine air intakes was also something that I felt needed to be stressed and take as much time as possible. Most of my focus would be on that, because it's very curved going in on the engine air intakes, and then I just wanted to make sure that that was illustrated properly and it wasn't just a 2x2 round tile illustrating that feature. Main rotor does what it ought to do, which is actually quite rare, but mostly just used for transporting the helicopter. The rotor blades would bend back to make the fall more in line with the fuselage, so it doesn't take up too much space in like a C-5 Galaxy aircraft for transport overseas. But most of the time you don't see them using that feature unless it's for transport. The rotor spins really well. It's been for a long time. Tail rotor is not a mistake. They're not perfectly set like this, like most people would expect. They are slightly pinched together. And the vehicle comes with 2 minifigures, both from the Minifig Co. Really the only difference between them is their faces. Otherwise it's pilot and gunner, and you get to choose which one you want to be which. So that's all I have to say about this model. Remember to visit brickveteran.com, sign up for the newsletter. That's how you'll get up to date on all of the email notifications about future upcoming sales. And remember to also visit our Instagram page for more cool content. Thank you.